Technology has always been a major issue for Nebraska Families Collaborative from the beginning. With our contract with the department, our core case management function is required to use the state management information system, which is called InFocus. InFocus presents a number of challenges for any organization using it, and it's a fairly antiquated system. From a young workforce standpoint, it has a very old-fashioned user interface. So it's not a rewarding system to work with as a direct service provider. And then from a management standpoint, presents a number of challenges because while it's capable of generating lots of management reports, not so much in a real-time functional way that most of us who are used to managing large companies are used to. And how do we use technology at every level of the organization effectively, given the limitation that a lot of our core business is still tied to this antiquated system. The focus for us has always largely been, as far as our own system is concerned, really using it for network management. The first system that we used was largely just devoted to billing and reimbursement for our network providers. And that worked well when we were a third our size and a third our population, and we had basically been able to make that work for that size of an organization. But as we grew, the limitations of that system really became clear, and we needed to migrate to something that was more robust and sophisticated. And in particular, one of the things that we were looking for was system flexibility. So a lot of the different vendor options that were out there at that time met many of the criteria, but they were not as flexible is what famCare appeared to be to us at that time, and that's one of the reasons why we went the direction that we did. As we were becoming more clear as to what our business objectives were, GVT was a very good partner at every stage of that process and going, okay, well now, here, yes, we can do that. Here's how we'll have to go. My experience in working with other vendors, there isn't necessarily the flexibility that they might have, and it could just be a lack of flexibility in the system that they have. And so I think a real strength that GVT has is that famCare is able to be customized in ways that other systems, you could do it, but it might be much more expensive and cost prohibitive from you being able to go down that road. We are having to use two different systems. You know, anybody who's running any company would tell you that's not ideal. You would prefer just to be using one. And so we needed to be clear as to what were the areas where we could really use famCare to our best advantage, and what areas were really, because of our contract, just kind of non-negotiables, and we had to make the best of that too. As time has gone on, we've gotten more and more clear as to how we can work between the two systems. And then, of course, we're always working with the department to encourage them to be looking at newer technology like this that might help them be more successful too, because not only is it a challenge for us, it's also a challenge for them using such an antiquated system. It's always challenging launching a new system. The challenges are less on the technological side, and they're more on the human side. And so it's really having a good communication plan with your staff, taking the feedback from them about what's working and what's not working. Here again, being really clear what you're trying to do and who's going to do what. And the positive thing I would say is not that you can avoid the pain, because I don't think you can. But here again, I think GVT was a good partner through that process. And so I think as you're looking at management information systems, you're not only looking for what can the technology do, but what can the vendor do to support your staff in that transition. And I think that process went as well as it could. The referral process to our partners is a critical component, and so at any given time we have about 2,400 kids that we're having to secure a variety of services for. The process that we've established around the referral process with famCare I've heard very positive feedback. And of course, for us as a network provider, we want those network agencies to be happy with us too. And so if it works for them and it works for us, then that's a win for everybody. So I think that's one of the things that I've heard the most positive feedback on. And it required a lot of work with GVT to get that to the place where we felt comfortable with it. There's not very many agencies in the United States like us. GVT was able to customize for us in ways that, not that it would have been impossible with other vendors, but it probably would have cost a lot more money to do that level of customization. Being able to customize and doing it in a cost-effective way is definitely one of the real strengths of famCare. I would say if you're looking for any system, do your homework. Talk to existing users like NFC out there and see what their experiences are. Learn what they've learned from implementing a system. Particularly look not only at the technological abilities of the system that you're considering, but also look at what's that vendor's ability to support the transition and what kind of resources that they can devote to making a successful transition. Look at the length of relationships that vendor has with its user base and see, are they able to support users on a long-term basis, or do they have a lot of broken relationships, those kind of things. Not only look at what are you going to have to invest in the technology, but what are you going to have to invest in your staff to have it properly supported on your organization level too. And I think a lot of organizations under-resource, and that's another lesson that we learned. We had to beef up the resources, and we're actually in the process of increasing our resources to support the product in your organizational environment. And I think a lot of times people skimp on that component really to their own detriment. Having worked with a lot of different IT vendors out there, GVT has always been a great partner, and so we really feel that a lot of the progress that we've made at NFC has been through partnerships with companies like GVT, and so we're really excited about the progress that we made, and we think that we're on the right track.